The locker wasn't locked, Mr. Wright. Please point out the cause for this.
It's got to be the glove, right? Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Oh, thank fuck the sound's not playing now.
What's this? Something white fell out the locker. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. I often fall out and roll great distances when...
We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean?
The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door?
Inserted?
This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor.
Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times I get stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, the tie chokes me. But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator. But at the crime scene,
There just might have been something that fits the description.
but sir, by insulator you don't mean...
I think I finally got this figured out.
Very well. Will the defence please present the relevant evidence? What is this insulator that was stuck in the locker door?
Extremely thin rubber glove. I found this in the locker, a thin rubber glove.
We can't be sure that was in the victim's locker.
It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, English, but that isn't the case. The lamplight attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is that not so, Officer Meekins?
Sir, it would appear so, sir. Order! Order! So we are to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Do not be misled, Your Honour. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defence has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer more than one testimony to prove this.
What?
Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir.
Is this a joke?
Very well, begin your testimony. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use the ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card.
An ID card record. I see. I have the ID card record right here. You're... Oh, that's the missing item.
The ID was used at 5:14. Is that of the victim?
Just before the crime, huh? This is without a doubt the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why are there so few people using this room?
This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases.
Special cases?
Extremely violent cases involving police staff.
Whew, just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, though it doesn't make much of a difference.
There are only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon.
Right, I see. Let us move to the cross-examination. So unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this is rock solid, do you?
Yes, sir. Solid as stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give the V for victory sign, sir.
Couldn't you just use your right hand for that? Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second. Is that card hanging from your neck, one of these ID cards?
Yes, sir. The card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it.
What if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that?
Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets caught when I get out of the car? Well, the remaining time it's the ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me.
Maybe I should just leave this one alone.
At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this.
Please proceed with your testimony.
When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. And
Whoops. Let it be noted, this is the record the witness refers to.
let me see. Yes, that would be it, Detective Goodman.
What's the matter?
According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here.
So it is, Your Honour. Not that prosecutor again. Maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he can hide the evidence. Mommy, is the man in blue a murderer? Shh, don't stare at him. You've got the wrong colour, kid. Again, why are you bringing a fucking child to witness?
It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today. I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination.
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, it must be so difficult for him. Time the crime detective used his card. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you.
Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID cards, sir.
Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife.
Maybe he just panicked.
Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out.
Mr. Wright, what do you think?
I'm confused.
What?
The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this.
You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show him what we got.
Wait for a moment, Officer Meekins.
I'm not good at waiting, sir.
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene.
That makes sense.
When I say the crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honour, I have one more piece of evidence to present. This is a very important clue regarding the victim's ID.
A lost item report. It's only half completed.
It shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report.
Let me guess. You believe this something is his ID card, correct?
I can't say for sure, but that's a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card.
Order! Order! So now what does all this mean?
It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card.
Order! Order! Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defence. Bravo, Mr. Wright.
Bravo?
Allow me to summarise the defence's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright?
Yes. What's he up to?
That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder.
I guess that's right.
There's something wrong, Mr. Wright. Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around.
Pause on that. This isn't going to end well.
Well, it seems you finally realised exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth.
Oh, I know where he's going with it.
The defence has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means the murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So, the real crime can only take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon.
Ah! I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all trapped from the beginning.
The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered, and where did this person disappear to? However, This trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman.
Just so, Your Honour.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana.
What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess?
Objection!
One moment, Your Honour.
What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven.
Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap.
What are you talking about?
The cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Okay, come on. However, it cannot be said that this is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amount of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defence demands further examination into the truth of the matter.
Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honour. If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honour. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident.
This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand.
Mr. Wright, what do you mean?
Your Honour, the defence would like to request a specific witness.
Oh? Whom do you have in mind?
Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room.
The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person who you would have testify, what is his or her name?
Officer Jake Marshall.
Why him?
I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say.
The prosecution agrees to the defence's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honour. Court is now in recess.
There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. Seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out.
Lana, you're the one who knows everything.
Emma,
You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you.
I don't recall ever asking for his protection.
How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me?
I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals.
Kinda.
Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
So fake. You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. On top of that, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey, I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? Oh. You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name. Never in a million years where I thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you'll might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the Chief Prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Miss Sky was a witness? Files for the Joe Dark killings, solved 2 years ago. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh what, now that I've bought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma? But why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident. Is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. Joe Dark? No. No, Lana. That's over with. No. Emma, wait. She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal. I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth, not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't just be a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. Shit's getting real serious.
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky.
Emma didn't come back.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation
Before I do anything else. SL9 closed. Perpetrator Joe Dark, serial murder, sentenced death. Victims: Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Jason Knight, Rachel Moss, Neil Marshall. Oh boy. Head Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, witnesses the Sky Sisters, Task Force, Executive Investigators Damon Gant and Lana Sky, the Head Investigator Bruce Goodman, Investigators Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. Well then. Me, partner, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization.
Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know, you're a patrolman.
As for a name, you listen hard enough, you can hear the wind howling calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor.
Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before.
Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You're in charge of guarding the evidence room the day of the crime took place. Is this correct?
According to the papers, partner.
What do you mean?
The desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up.
Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain English.
My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make the rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so you're out of ammo. So if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail.
I can't say I particularly care for your attitude.
I can't say I particularly care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Cheeky bastard.
Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems?
I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those.
Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those?
He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or following orders.
Everyone's got their own weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor?
Seems like this one is trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours.
How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved from the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings.
You interred them?
Videos of nothing ain't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape.
If nothing useful is recorded, the tapes are to be erased every 6 hours.
Each time I erased a tape, it felt like I was erasing part of my life. This guy's a flair for the dramatic, but this isn't going to do him any good.
So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room?
They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day.
But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right?
Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you it ain't my style.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
No desperado I know lets rules get in his way.
No desperados I know joined the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime,
just between you and me, I didn't even set foot in the evidence room that day.
There's a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that?
Sorry, partner, can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks.
How does he avoid being fired? You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct?
Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence.
And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism.
Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. Couldn't even tell you how a bike works.
That's, quite incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are aware of their presence.
Now that he mentioned it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too.
At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what about what you were doing there when the crime took place? What were you doing in a place like that?
I was eating spaghetti.
Not even Angel State lunches can beat that parlor's Von Sepia pasta.
You mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles?
Not all desperados eat tacos, partner.
That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson.
Strange. It's usually where Edgeworth says, "Do you not want to raise this year?" Out of ammo, Officer Marshall?
That's right, partner. Or I should call it evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, you'd better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back into the west into the sunset.
One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything.
Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that.
Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. Okay, I'm guessing I need to use the fingerprints to prove that he was in the evidence room. I'm not entirely sure what statement I'm supposed to press, so I'll just do a safety save. Marshall's fingerprints. There we go. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime.
And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner.
It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint.
Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of the crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my handprints would be in there.
I only wish you were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood.
Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene.
The blood was wiped away, however. A luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall?
It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders.
I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall.
About the blood-stained fingerprints?
Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime.
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. Well, I just happened to be in the same place as a blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and fingerprint are completely unrelated. Well, didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it.
The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt.
Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. It's a shite testimony, but I'm not sure what to use against it. That's because you, how do you put it, pay your respects once a month?
Yeah, that's right. That's one more thing. That locker happens to be mine.
What do you mean?
I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery.
Please explain.
My locker's covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened murderer touched them. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Unrelated. They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's the type of murder.
He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different.
I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. Didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports.
There was a blood stain at the scene, though thought to be left by the murderer.
That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint.
Yeah, I think we tried that too.
So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint.
That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and it's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise.
This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination.
That sounds like a safety save warning to me.
Continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? You know, it probably might be now that you've said that. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me into this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, this video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is useless, it's full of blind spots.
Blind spots?
Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth, the floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence to this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now.
Oh, fuck off, man. I'm gonna look at the tape, but if that Blue Badger's fucking music starts playing again... Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall.
Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might end up being the one making the mistake.
Now then, let's have another look at the video.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Show us this incriminating
Oh, I didn't. Oh my god, it's fucking. That's clearly Marshall's knife. Fuck.
Please allow me to apologise to my colleague, Your Honour. He gets carried away sometimes. Yes, well, this certainly isn't the first. Will you forgive him, Officer Marshall? He's not a bad man, just disillusioned.
Of course. I'm not one to gun down unarmed boys. Oh great, now Edgeworth is defending me. Guess that means I missed the mark. Oh. Will this work? Wait. Ah! The fucking coat! Wasn't there before. And now it is. Bring our attention back to the security camera. It's a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you had to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video.
That locker with a white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe.
Now let's rewind the video a bit.
Oh, the white cloth is gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Order! Order! It would seem that...
Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker is open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. Murderer neither had something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb, he really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I'll call you bluff.
You say I opened that locker, now prove it. Only the assigned detective's prints can unlock it. Indicator lamp lights up when it's open. Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. Okay, so the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people in the force who don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got one word for you, partner. No! Order! Order! Witness, explain yourself! If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay! Please answer the question! What is he now, a bullfighter? It's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can. Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Am I stupid? Is it here? Officer Marshall was standing right here. There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. There we go. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman? He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his ID card, sir. And how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about this officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer's simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on the card. Oh, I get it! If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realised that this man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? You're still denying it? You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you've got hard evidence to prove that I was dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beer, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ugh, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do?